Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunaraitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha, Section 30, the mystic art of worship of the Supreme Self. Lord Shiva giving teachings to sage Vasistha. That's the storyline, implying the teachings are from a very profound source, couldn't be profounder than Shiva. It is Brahman or pure consciousness that manifests as the divine Vishnu and destroys demons, just as the rainy season puts an end to the scorching heat of the sun. You are giving elaborate insight into the great utterance, Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is pure awareness. But beware of your awareness. I'm joking. This is a very subtle topic. All that you experience is in the terms of awareness. Awareness of gain, awareness of loss, awareness of birth, awareness of death. ALL, all that you experience, positive and negative. But all your experiences come and go. But awareness does not. The underlying awareness is like a lake. All the awareness that you experience based on mental projections. Maneyo manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. Mind is the cause of bondage and release. So all your experiences are mind's projections on the screen of consciousness. Just like in a cinema show, all that you watch is in the terms of projections. But projections give you a big drama. But nothing of the projection is the reality. The reality is the screen. That screen, like reality, is pure consciousness. Prajnanam Brahma. And that's what you are. Now, again, I'm reiterating certain point. That pure consciousness is Brahman, the Absolute. The Maya Shakti of Brahman is Prakriti. Brahman, through Sattva predominating Prakriti, called Maya. A special name, Vidya Maya. Manifests as Ishvara, God, the controller, the ruler. Same Brahman, to Rajas predominating Prakriti, manifests as countless jivas, souls, And Brahman, through tamas predominating, manifests as all the matter, including your body, mind, intellect, all. But all that expresses through Maya Shakti, through Prakriti, is nothing but Brahman. It is pure consciousness that manifests as the three-eyed Shiva. So all the Brahman plays the role of Ishvara. So all aspects of Ishvara are essentially pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is therefore described as Lord Shiva sporting with goddess Parvati. It is this pure consciousness which has assumed the form of Brahma, the creator, who arises out of the lotus emanating from the navel of Lord Vishnu. The navel term and Lord Vishnu always allegorical. Navel is the center for Kriya Shakti. And Brahma's world relates to the world you go through based on karma. All karmic laws are designed by and ruled by Brahma, the creator, called karma vidhan. And no one can escape it. But liberation is not a result of karma. So therefore, no matter how much you may improve your karma, based on karma, you cannot have a result of karma as liberation. Liberation process is Ishvara Vidhan, God's plan. Brahma is God, but Ishvara means very Brahman through Maya. In implying Brahman, implying bhakti, role of bhakti. If you are turning to God with increasing devotion, your law of karma will not stop you from attaining God realization. And you have all the illustrations. Sage Valmiki himself, if he is to gain anything, depends upon his karma. And he was a big robber. And that will keep him constantly in bondage. But he turned to Rama. I'm not going to details. But as he turns to Rama, all that Brahma Vidhan didn't apply. Ishvara Vidhan became effective. And that's an important point to understand. So in other words, an aspirant should not hammer on the mind, I have so many negative karmas. Each karma will require 2 or 3 births. Not so. Turning Godwards, all that you need to do is bow your head in the mystic realm of wait, watch, and wonder. Like countless leaves of a tree, or like numerous ornaments that can be fashioned from gold, numerous beings arise from Brahman. Simple illustration. Gold is the reality behind all ornaments, golden ornaments. But your mind goes after names and forms, ornaments shaped in the form of rings, bracelets, anklets, and so forth. And another point, Each time you see your golden ring, it rings a bell in your mind. Who gave that ring? Whom are you remembering? How it has come from your forefathers, the world of fathers, and it has come down, so it is more precious to you than the metal, cost of the metal. All this detail I'm saying to show that all this mental concept about your ring, there's a projection of names and forms. The ring is nothing but gold. And that should ring in your mind. Truth alone shines. Multiplicity of things in this world are same gold in different names and forms. Same Brahman. Just as an infant is enfolded in an embryo prior to its birth, in the same manner, this universe is enfolded in Maya, which emerges from the mirror of pure consciousness. Pure consciousness remains like a mirror, and all that you experience through the mirror are illusory modifications of the mirror itself. Again, reminding you a very simple simile given by the scriptures. Attainment of liberation is like a project of seeing your face. Every day you see your face, and you become satisfied with yourself. But in seeing your face, 3 obstacles are there that you have to tackle. If mirror is dusty, you have to wash the mirror or wipe it out. The dusty mind is your mirror. Mala's gross impurities have to be washed by karma yoga of selfless action. But as you begin to wash, you're surprised because you have no idea how do you look. And now your hand begins to shake. I'm giving allegorical because you can't understand it. You are overwhelmed. Are you this? Are you that? Are you this? Or that? That's picture of Vikshepa. That's corrected by dhyana, practice of meditation and devotion, karma upasana. And when the mirror becomes steady, last obstacle, you become so wonderstruck that your head begins to swing down, bringing your hair right over your eyes, called avarana. For that avarana, you don't do anything special. Just lift up your head, a little jerk. And then what you have realized doesn't need the mirror anymore. That's one way to understand the role of mirror. The mirror role can apply also because the mind essentially is pure consciousness. All that you see reflected in a lake, reflections are not reality. Lake is the reality. Led by Maya, it is pure consciousness which has manifested into the creeper of the world process. Now see the allegorical and poetic description that the world is like a creeper. It creeps on. Numerous thoughts are buds, and worldly knowledge, all that you know by your intellect is worldly knowledge, is the bark of this creeper. Seasons are its spores, and numerous beings are the knots. The restless enjoyments of the world are the flowers, and numerous worlds are like the particles of pollen in the flower. Even the vast universe, the world systems, they are described like pollen grains. Another illustration given in the Yoga Vasistha. In a dark room, you open a window and a beam of light comes into your room. Look into that beam. You see thousands, millions of dust particles scintillating. Each particle considered to be a world system. You are experiencing world system constantly. Your mind is like a big mystic computer and Googles up a whole world system. Even in your dream, suddenly you are in a world system. If you begin to ask, when did this world begin? There is no beginning of it. You can't imagine its end either. And your dream contains countless things. But all that is just a little particle of dust. That again is allegorical. You wake up, nothing is there. The entire dream didn't take space at all. O sage, Lord Shiva is telling Vasistha, even when a tasty food is placed at the tip of the tongue, it does not yield its taste unless the light of consciousness permeates the tongue, implying who is the taster and what is the taste. Your tongue is not the taster. You are not the taster as ego. How do you understand that? Look at the countless souls, countless jivas, using their tongue. Camels chew up thorny bushes, and from those thorny bushes they derive a strange, delicious feeling in their tongue. So taste is not coming from your tongue or from the whatever you are eating. The source of taste is your consciousness. In a more simple way to understand, your taste relates to vasanas. And taste does not simply limit to your tongue's taste. Taste is whatever pleases you. And anything that pleases you based upon your vasana. If you have Shubha Vasana, Satsanga will please you. It's very tasty, delicious. Even literal, you get prasad. Not these days. But you don't have Shubha Vasana. Your vasanas are not purified. Then your mind says, oh, it's a boring talk. All is Brahman. It is pure consciousness that grows, that rolls and dances, that devours. This is what ideal affirmation that your mind has to practice. Allow your mind to relax. Find a little room during the day, little room of a spiritual nature, and allow this type of thought to enter. And when you allow it, it's called affirmation. And it works wonders. Continue to allow positive affirmation to enter your mind. Affirmation based on Brahman. I am Brahman, the essential affirmation. So, all that you have experienced, all that grows, that rolls and dances, as well as all that devours and brings terror, it is consciousness. It is consciousness for easy understanding. All that you experience in your dream is nothing but your own consciousness. But while dreaming, you are not aware of it. You are in your dream, everything of your dream, the mountain, the sky, stars, as well as the smallest of things, spiders, roaches. Good things of your dream, wonderful experience, sometimes soaring, becoming even a swan. And miserable experience, becoming a frog, being crushed. But behind all that experience, it is you consciousness, Chaitanya. And there is no need for big argument. When you wake up, nothing of your dream stays on your bed. It is consciousness which is the reality. Therefore, the highest worship consists in discovering the pure consciousness within one's own heart, that spiritual awakening. When you wake up through intuitive realization, then just like you have been awakened from your dream, not a needle point of dream is real. In the same way, not a needle point of this world is the reality. Sage Vasistha asked, see, question and answer. That's again created for the benefit of the aspirant. Sage Vasistha is not ordinary disciple, if at all. But again, this is just allegorical. So Sage Vasistha asked, O Lord, if pure consciousness permeates all objects, how is it that the human body is devoid of luster at death? In common parlance, living beings are said to be conscious, while inert objects are unconscious. If pure consciousness is the reality behind all, why does this distinction exist? Whence do the inert objects arise? Here you are given a very puzzle, big riddle. Whenever we say God is pure consciousness, your mind gets confused. Living beings are recognized as conscious. Inert objects are unconscious. simple classification, Jada Chetan, Jada inert, Chetan conscious. Rocks, tables, chairs, all things are inert, Jada. And human beings, animals, birds, they are Chetan, conscious. But that Chetan is not the consciousness. The consciousness is as much the reality of inert object as the reality of conscious beings. When we talk of Jada Chetan, that consciousness is qualified by prana, vital force. In order to understand more profoundly, turn your attention to those two terms, bhava pratyaya and pratyaya bhava. All experiences in the world are based upon projections of the mind, thought waves. So, just like watch a cinema show, you are so trapped by an entertaining show that at times you see things so joyous, you begin to laugh and all. At times, tears begin to come down your eyes. At times, you become completely like inert. But all that you are experiencing in the terms of Jada and Chetan, life and lifeless, conscious and unconscious, all that you are experiencing are projections. Screen is totally different from the projections. So the presence of projection, called bhava pratyaya, projection being negated, pratyaya bhava, pratyaya itself, the whole projection system taken away. Seems like a big thing to understand. But all that you understand, all your dream was a kind of projection. Wake up, you move away from the whole dream. So therefore, in dream, you saw the distinction between living matter and inert matter. The distinction between Jada and Chetan. But all the distinctions didn't matter at all when you wake up. The Chetan and Jada, all are where your own consciousness. So this is what you have to understand, that even the world you are experiencing is a kind of a dream. It's a long dream. And your experience of Jada Chetan, difference, things that are completely inert, lifeless, and then things that have life. That distinction is based on Maya, illusion, not a reality. Lord Shiva replied, O sage, you have asked a profound question. In every individual, there exists two types of consciousness. One reflecting in the mental process, and the other pure consciousness. Reflecting in the mental process is bhava pratyaya, and pure consciousness pratyaya bhava. Just as a person of gentle nature becomes a different personality under the influence of anger, in the same manner, overpowered by thoughts and imaginations, pure consciousness assumes the role of jiva consciousness. Having turned away from its essential nature, pure consciousness, assuming the role of jiva consciousness, then imagines the existence of conscious beings as well as unconscious inert objects. This point I have explained to you already. It assumes the forms of objects, considers them to be different from itself. It brings within itself the perception of multiplicity. Same consciousness of yourself has turned into a whole dream world. All the multiple things of your dream are nothing but consciousness. And in that world of multiplicity, your delusional identity seeks enjoyment after enjoyment. Therefore, under the influence of ignorance, this pure consciousness becomes transformed into the world, consisting of numerous planes, along with numerous beings that abide in them. It further allows itself to be confined to a world of time and space. Always, it's very easy to understand if you think of your dream, how your dream itself is a kind of a world within the world and within the world. Just as Gadhi Brahmin, led by the delusion of the mind, believed himself to be a Chandala, in the same manner, due to illusion, this consciousness believes itself to be confined to the world process. Having manifested the mind, and having been conditioned by the delusion created by the mind, this pure consciousness seems to enter into a world of inanimate objects, blinded by imagine and infatuation. It's again a poetic description of bhava pratyaya, how mental vrittis, thought waves, projecting upon pure consciousness, create all that you experience in the world process. And what happens in the world process? Souls are blinded by infatuation, fettered by craving, afflicted by desire, anger and fear, afflicted by mala, fallen into the pits of prosperity and adversity, virtue and vice. And the result of virtue and vice is pleasure and pain. Unaware of the intrinsic glory, and the jiva is caught in this. All the time, jiva is Brahman, but unaware. Just like a reflected sun in a jar of water, goes through countless experiences, but all the time it is nothing but the sun. That's the truth of the matter. Agitated by the miseries arising out of separation from dear relatives, meeting and parting, all are experienced through the thought waves of your mind. A camel derives pleasure in chewing thorny bushes, and even the bitter leaves of neem tree appear sweet to its taste, because such is the vasana, or the subtle desire that operates in its mind. In the same manner, reflected consciousness begins to seek happiness from the painful objects of the world. This point is hammered on your mind, that deep down your heart should not develop that conviction that you can get happiness from the world and will not hope anymore. That will never be possible. And this big truth hides from your mind. You ignore it. The big truth, when you look up to the sky, you're looking at boundless space. But the blue sky stops it, and your vision doesn't go anymore. Similarly, there is a kind of a sky-like veil. Each time you look at yourself and your problems, there is it's gripped by a limited space. It's just like we're looking within a certain hall. But the world that the soul is experiencing is beyond imagination. Because all you experience is Brahman, the Absolute. In childhood, there is a state of utter dependence. In youth, the mind is overwhelmed with numerous distractions. In old age, one is assisted by numerous diseases, assailed by, not assisted, and misery. Thus, consciousness overpowered by karma has become this living body which is subject to death. Led by ignorance, the reality I am consciousness has become confined to I am this body. The reality I am the sun has become confined to I am this pot. Led by karma, it rises to heavenly realms, as well as descends into the hellish nether worlds. This is called vidhi vidhan, that being explained to you. If you want to stay in the world of karma, you have a great possibility to improve yourself by changing your karma, by your effort. But you can't get out of mortality. The world is under the grip of mortality virus. So then, led by karma, you go through so many experiences. But if you turn to Godward movement and begin to practice integral yoga in life, you are moving away from karma, vidhi vidhan, to being led by God, Ishwar vidhan. Keeping that in view, follow the description. Your consciousness, which is essentially Brahman, becomes gods, demons, men, women, snakes, and other living beings. At times it becomes a celestial spirit in the Sumeru mountains. Another time it becomes a snake in a dense forest. It becomes a creeper on a tree or a bird in a nest. It becomes a deer in a forest or a tree in a mountain valley. All these variations are being presented to you in all planes, including the plane of God, Ishvara, not the absolute God. Having assumed the form of Lord Narayana, it enjoys profound sleep in the milky ocean on the bed of the Shesha serpent. All the distinctions that we study while studying the evolution of the world, how it came from Brahman, and Brahman through Prakriti becomes Hiranyagarbha, cosmic mind. So one way explaining like a mathematical way. Another way, sages presented it in an artistic way. Brahman becoming Vishnu in a milky ocean. Milky ocean is Sattva. And he is, as it were, lying on Shesha bed. Cosmic mind becomes like a Shesha serpent with countless hoods. Hoods are the vrittis of the mind. What I am implying when you read all these Puranic pictures of Lord Vishnu lying on the Shesha serpent and milky ocean, don't take it literally. And Brahma coming out of his navel. Navel is Kriya Shakti. All this is pure consciousness. Having become the sun, it is the creator of time. Having become the clouds, it showers rain. Having become the wind, it blows. Having become mountains, it rises high. And in the form of the ocean, it continues to surge. Every bit of this universe, physical, sentimental, rational, all the three planes are nothing but pure consciousness, Chaitanya. Behold the miraculous power of ignorance. Though ever full, this consciousness has allowed itself to descend into the lowest depths of unconsciousness. Though it has the possibility of devouring this vast space containing numerous objects, yet it considers itself to be confined to time and space. All this allegorical description, think of how Agastya sips up the whole ocean in 3 sips. Allegorical, implying that state of enlightened progress of the soul, where all the 3 lokas are as if assimilated. You come to realize all the 3 lokas are me. I am. In Om Upasana, it becomes further more clarity. You understand your physical body is a part of cosmic body. So in reality, you are cosmic body. But when you understand physical body is nothing but a mental, mind is giving you reality to the body. Body has no goal. So then you are mind, cosmic mind. So you have sipped up the first sip. All the physical plane is not me, pure consciousness. Thereby you have sipped it. Then all the subtle world based on mental experiences, all the sentimental world, that's not me. You sucked up the sentimental world. All that is causal in the unconscious, that's also not me. You suck up that. All the 3 have been sucked up. And then you become Agastya, an immovable, enlightened soul. And better to stay immovable. And with this we conclude. Om Ram 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 Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras grace over all of you with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.